Hello, I want to make a video about immigrant numbers in the United Kingdom in Great Britain. I live in London and I've lived here for about 20 years. London, I can assure you, everywhere you go is now at least half black. There are also, of course, Polish people and other people as well who are indistinguishable from native British people. So London is anyway at least, say, half foreign. I'll say half black because it simplifies matters. London has a population now of about 13 million people. That's 13 million people. Half of them being black makes 6.5 million people. That's the United Kingdom has a population of about 65 million people. So 6.5 million people is already 10% of the population. That's just in London alone. If you count as many, say at least as many again over the rest of the country, that's twice as many. That makes 2 times 6.5 million, which is 13 million people. That's 20% of 65 million people. 13 million people are black, at least, and maybe more if you think that there are other foreigners here as well. At least 20%, therefore, of our population is foreign, probably more really if you count other people like Poles and so on, but at least 20% is. In my opinion, it's probably more than that. My personal opinion is it's probably twice as many. The government won't tell you how many. It doesn't know. It hasn't kept tabs. A few years ago I read, you can find this on Google, you can easily find the information. There are at least, this was a few years ago, they said, there are at least 10,000 Al-Qaeda trained terrorists walking the streets of London, of the United Kingdom freely. There are probably 20,000 now or more. We have whole towns of Pakistanis, whole towns of Poles. They're hostile to native people when you go there. They like to think they own the place. Whole new towns are being built for them. Every new build of council flats is for them. We give birth in hospital wings, hospital corridors for them while they use the wings because there are so many people. The situation is just insane. Now, the question is, also, how long before they outnumber us? This is not a foolish question. According to the government, it will be around 2050. That's 38 years ago. 38 years from now. 38 years from now, you will lose forever this country unless something's done. That's according to the government. I think they're lying. They've lied about having an open door policy, which Labour had for 13 years. There was pretty much an open door policy before then, really. Nothing's changed now. Do you want to live in a Western country or not? If we lose control of this country, it is much more likely than anything else that it will the control will fall to Islamics. Do you want to live under Sharia law? If you want this country to remain English or Western, we have to act now. There's no time for tears, no time for panicking, no time for foolishness. There's only time for resolve. Not for anything else, just resolve and courage and bravery and determination and self-sacrifice. Otherwise, you're going to lose it so badly you will be sorry forever. And so will all your children and grandchildren forever. You know what happens in war? People die. They die because they know they've got to fight. They die because they're willing to fight, because they're not stupid enough to think they don't want to fight. Do you want to live in a Western country? Don't think you can run forever. This is a finite world. Holland has already been outnumbered by foreigners. The indigenous Dutch people are no longer the majority in Holland. It's been 10 years or more since they were outnumbered. They will never democratically have an indigenous controlled country again. The foreigners in question are mostly Islamics. Holland is in deep trouble. It's not going to last much longer as a Western country, let alone as a Christian one. We are set for the same path by governments, leftist governments or globalist governments, who include capitalists, both sides, all the big parties working together, because they're all corrupt, really. They just want money. If you keep voting for them, we are set for doom. We're goners. We're done. Unless the only thing that will save us is concerted, determined action in one direction, and that is to regain our country, to keep it Western. I'm not a hater. I just don't want to live in a non-Western world, and that's the way the whole world is going now. The West is allowing itself to be invaded. We've been infiltrated and overtaken in the media by the left. The right has joined in because that was the way to go, and it just goes whatever way is the way to go because it wants money. Money is all that matters to the right. So basically, we have globalism or nationalism. Now, don't think I'm a hater. I'm not a hater. I just want to stay Western. Okay, I don't want to be shot for not wearing a burqa. That's what they do in Iran. If you don't wear a burqa in Iran, they will shoot you in the street with AK-47s. I've seen it on YouTube. You can see it on YouTube. Look it up. Maybe it's still there. I think it's still there. Film of great big heavy-set middle-aged women with AK-47s piling out of a van and shooting 2 women dead for taking off their burqas in public. They took them off as a protest, praying they wouldn't be killed, though they knew they might be. One was shot dead on the spot, the other was shot but lived and was sent to prison, maybe hung or something, I don't know. This was now about 6 or 7 years ago. I saw it on TV, on the news first, and then on YouTube. You can probably still find it there. Is that what you want for your children? You're going to tuck them in at night and say, I love you, knowing you're not going to do anything to stop that from happening to them in the future. Do you know what happens to women in Afghanistan if they go out without a male, even a 3-year-old child, escorting them? They get shot. The Taliban kill them. Even with burqas on, they don't get to go out without a male escort, a family male escort. I want to remain Western, okay? I want to live my life my way. Let them live their lives their way, how they like, in their own countries. I want to live my life my way. Now, with regard to how long we have to turn the situation around, okay, say they're 20% of the population. That's a minimum. I think they're twice as many. Even if they're only 20%, they've only got to have 2 kids each, only got to double their numbers to be 40%. Meanwhile, our numbers are going down. Just give them another 10 years and they're going to equal us in numbers. That's if they're 20%. I think they're 30 or 40%. You don't see them all because whole towns of them are foreign. But you don't live in those towns and you don't go to those towns, so you don't know how many there are. But you can see them in every town in Britain. You can see them up and down the country, certainly in the big cities. Right? People will lie to you about how many there are in the big cities, but just go up and down the main streets during daylight hours when they're out and count their numbers. You'll see there are at least as many blacks and probably other foreigners you can't distinguish from indigenous people, but at least as many blacks as whites. That means that since most people, 80% of the population lives in these big cities, they are at least half of 80%. That's 40% of the population. They also live in whole towns occupied by single ethnicities. So you'd have to add those on too, but you don't go there. You don't see them, but they're there. So that you'd have to add those to the numbers. I think, to be honest with you, they're a minimum of 40% of the population already. If they have just 2 or 3 kids each, which they will, and we have less than 1 each or 1 each, which is likely for us, we could already be outnumbered. We'll be outnumbered in 10 or so years, in my opinion. I would give an outside estimate 15 years before they outnumber us. In London, they already outnumber us in schools. There are more black or foreign, so even black, just black, school children in London than whites. They already outnumber us in London as school children. When this happens up and down the country, we're outnumbered. Now, you can be as peaceful and loving and PC as you want, but you have to decide whether or not you want to live in a Western country. Why would they change for you? Why would you live in a dream world where everybody wants to do things your way? How often does everybody want to do things your way? Has it ever been that everybody wanted to do things your way outside of your birthday party or something? Maybe at Christmas when everyone's trying to get on within your family group. It doesn't happen. The rest of the world has its own way of living. Why would they all say, oh, English people, we all want to be like you? They don't. They don't. They want to be like them. They came here for jobs. When it suits them, they say they come here to work. When it suits them, they say they come here because they love Britain.